do in the Russian finals, of course, coming up at the end of July. So, a lot of questions being asked across the WGL in general, and Virtus.pro are so far the only undefeated team alongside Mind in just the European and Russian region, of course, the most competitive.
Well, let's find out if that stays true coming into our next map, which is going to be ENSK. So we are now into the game here on battle number 2. We are here live on ENSK between Virtus.pro and Denial Esports. In the north in red, it will be Denial. In the south in blue, it's currently the leading side, Virtus.pro. Let's see if they can keep an undefeated record going in towards the city, it seems.
They're very good at city defenses and attacks in general, so Virtus.pro not wanting to be a little bit risky like a lot of teams like going over towards the green zone. Virtus.pro going aggressive. Butcher also on the right trying to catch the cross out. He gets spotted, so he knows Virtus.pro are going towards that city side. Kusok going quite aggressive. Denial started standardly. Virtus.pro certainly having. Kusok, look how aggressive he finds himself. Carmen to his left, and this looks like a classic push-in, rush-in from Virtus.pro.
This is dangerous as well. They've caught out at least Potomako and Butcher here. Potomako does find one towards Just Cause. Kusok catches one on the cross here. Make it 2. Actually, he's in trouble. He could go down now, but Potomako has 4 players to deal with. Vorsic, Kusok all moving in. Potomako takes down Kusok, but there's still at least 3 more tanks willing and ready to get the damage done. Vorsic finds him, takes him down. Butcher's the next on the chopping board, and Povel will slice that to pieces. But Just Cause has been caught in his own, and Zemeth finds the avenging kill. It's a 3-for-2 exchange currently in favor to Virtus.pro.
Yeah, but Virtus.pro lost only a tier 1, so really there's 3 combat tanks each. Povel's also going down low. Breakneck getting caught.
Yeah, Breakneck might be in trouble here. He needs to be a little careful. We're seeing the reply finally forming from Denial, but they're pushing it over the open ground, and 2 shells being connected is not what they wanted. Oh, and Mertirius has been tracked. He's been held, and Povel did phenomenal damage. Finally, Mertirius is back up and running, but the hit and run start from Virtus.pro has left them devastated.
Breakneck heading back towards Virtus.pro. Great early aggression. Denial being caught completely unaware. Zenith has to do a perfect job. You can see the tanks are severely in favor of Virtus.pro if they get the reload. Povel's down low as Mertirius is. Breakneck takes him.
Here we go. So further in, Niz Pizzoni is trying to look for Breakneck to avenge his fallen teammate, hunting him down. He's got backup coming in not too far away. Zenith and Snip moving up as well. They're trying to pinch this guy in, but I'm not sure if they expect that many tanks to be waiting. Vorsic and Breakneck see the weakness. They're going to move in. Zenith coming around the backside, but is Zenith too little too late here? Vorsic's out in the open, as is Breakneck. Niz Pizzoni backs away. Zenith finally gets the shells into place, but Niz Pizzoni is going so down low. Oh, a bounce from Vorsic. That's not what they wanted, but Niz Pizzoni still is looking so vulnerable, and Vorsic will punish him for it. Zenith doing what he can, but it's too little, too late. Virtus.pro making a point of things. They can play slow, they can play fast, and they can take down every single member of Denial. Zenith is on his last chance, 177 HP. One more shell is going to clinch this one. Not going to come from Povel that time. Zenith backs away, but only for a second, as Povel lines up the second and lands it. Virtus.pro with a stunning second map.
Blitzkrieg is one word that
Pretty
comes
much,
to mind. Analysing that one a little bit, although there's not too much to analyse. Basically, Denial Esports didn't expect Virtus.pro to be so aggressive. I mean, damn, Kusok was further ahead in towards the map than Carmen was. Carmen wasn't in the right position, basically, to spot them out early enough, and Denial Esports got caught with their pants down. It was actually an even exchange. It was all even, 3 versus 3. Povel also down to 4-4-2, so at that point, Denial had the advantage. But the problem is Mertirius. He was too eager to go forwards. Virtus.pro in the perfect position to deal with him.
They caught him on the cross, didn't they?
They caught him, and they took him down to 216 HP. And that made a kind of an even situation worse, because Virtus.pro had 2 AMX 5100, 1 IS3 left, and all Denial had was 3 IS3, which are great in a defensive location. But when you're trying to push and be aggressive, you could see how much damage Vorsic could pump out. They had absolutely no S3s, which take more damage, take more focus fire, and they didn't do that much damage themselves. Virtus.pro not making that mistake.
No. And 3 players hitting above 2k damage there. Vorsic, Povl, and Breakneck all breaking that marker. Stunning play. So, well, that was the second map done very, very quickly. Normally I was expecting a little bit more of a back and forth, maybe testing out the 6 line, going in the green zone. None of that. Virtus.pro want to get this done, it seems. They might have something better to do, clearly. And Denial are merely taking up their time, as it seems at the moment. And looking at Cliff, not a map I'd want to be deciding my fate, especially up against Virtus.pro.
Yeah, Denial have been they've been pretty good on Cliff, actually, so they do have a chance. I said Mines and Cliff could be the ones that could surprise Virtus.pro on. ENSK, Himmelsdorf are definitely more El Classic, so we'll have to see what happens, but Virtus.pro looking unstoppable completely. It doesn't matter if they play passive or aggressive, they know exactly what to do in every single situation. And as a team, when you push forwards like that and you get yourself into hard situations, you learn. You never learn if you're just playing the normal kind of slow stuff. Virtus.pro going forwards like that, they knew they made mistakes and they can learn from those mistakes, which is great. And it just shows how far ahead they are compared to Denial. They couldn't respond to that. They had not enough damage, not tanks in the right position. Denial just trying the normal stuff and getting caught out. Simple as that. And Virtus.pro, they've done that push time and time again.
So well played out by Virtus.pro. My God, that was absolutely astounding. And Cliff being the next map, Virtus.pro have their own styles to this. Generally a winning style, let's be serious. What can Denial pull out tactics-wise here to catch them out? Is there any options?
Well, Virtus.pro usually picks the 4-1-6, so you've got to come up with some sort of solution to deal with that. Obviously means that Virtus.pro sticks quite far back, going for the pot shots, certainly from the north. From the south, I'm not sure if the 4-1-6 is so viable. You want more burst. We've seen, School Bus struggle a little bit on this map, but generally being the good team with the Pershing. I think they've only lost one time on Cliff this season. So if I was Virtus.pro, I would be taking a lot of lessons from School Bus. Use sustained damage tanks like the Pershing, and then have all the rest of your tanks just pure damage. You want the AMX 3090s, the T69s in there, just really supplying a lot of things you don't get from that Pershing. But I believe from the south it's going to be Denial and north from Virtus.pro, so I would expect them to pick a 4-1-6 in there somewhere.
Yeah, the 4-6 is pretty much a given for these guys these days. It didn't work out so well for other teams that have toyed with it, so I'll be interested to see if it actually does come into play. I am seeing a 5100 still in the hands of Vorsic, so maybe toying with other options. Maybe I'm not sure who normally picks it up. Would it be Bishop? I don't know. I'm trying to wait and see here. Actually, it could be a change up. It looks like Denials has come through though, which is fairly standard, I think.
Yeah, triple MX 3090, double T69, double tier 1. That's the vanilla lineup. It's the expected. Wouldn't say anything bad with it, but Virtus.pro usually picked it in Season 3, so the fact that they're changing things up maybe gives Denial a hint of where the game is going. But Vorsic is sticky in that 5100. Povl, Just Cause, and Breakneck, of course, the 3 AMX 3090s players are going to be picking those tanks up. Bishop, he's not my favourite player in the world, though he's pretty damn good. He's been doing a lot better in this season
this guy,
than previous ones. I think he's been more in the T69, but he's picking an MX 3090, and Vorsic leaving for the garage does give us a hint that probably Vorsic and Povl T69 areas.
I'd be interested to see them switching up that 4-1-6 because it's been such a, assimilated tank with them now. It's become almost secondary. I'm still not seeing it in play. So, no, it looks like they've... Wow, that's a lot of 1390s.
That's Penta 3090. So 5 3090s coming out from Virtus.pro, like in a Suba style. They're getting on Cliff. They've seen the way.
They've seen the light.
They've seen the light. They're like, guys, we can actually push and be effective, and they've taken all the MX 3090s. To be fair, it's not bad. The only thing they don't have is that middle exchange with the T69s. The only thing they can do to counter that, they never want to get in those hull down exchanges, is just go in and just use the fearsome burst damage of those AMX 3090s to take them out. But to be honest, I think Denial actually has a good chance against this lineup.
And as you said, they can't really go for that middle exchange here. Will this be them working on one of the flanks, east or west maybe, and using a little bit of a difference? We've seen a couple of 3090s being used in that sort of instance. We'll have to wait and see if that actually does come into effect. I think the teams are ready. The tanks are locked in. So guys, let's get ourselves looking towards the next map coming up. Cliff. So welcome into battle number 3, which could possibly be the last between these two if Virtus Pro pick it up. And speaking of Virtus Pro, they will be starting in the north in blue and in the south in red. It will be Denial Esports looking maybe to draw one back in. And what are we seeing these guys doing so far?
Crete's having a little bit of team damage from Forsic, not good communication. I actually was thinking maybe Virtus Pro goes down the lower road with that slightly strange tactic, but Denial has done it themselves and maybe expected to meet Virtus Pro on the flanks. Instead, maybe the reloads stopping from Virtus Pro. Going for that, the MX-3090, 33 seconds reload. If they met Denial, they'll be in some serious trouble. Instead, surging in towards the middle. Virtus Pro obviously want to make this a quick one. Zenith being caught out on the left on his own.
Yeah, Zenith is going to go down faster than I can probably change to this guy. He is backing the hell up here. He's trying to get away from this. Povel is coming in from the side. This is a absolute overmatch if I've ever seen one. He's making a stand, but it's not enough. Povel takes him down. Povel took a hell of a lot of damage for that one. But look at the positions they've been able to gather. And now even more damage coming in from the likes of Kusok. They are not done just yet. These guys mean business.
I mean, the fact that Virtus Pro can just push through the middle and still win, at least that exchange does say something about how amazing they are. Pushing straight into towards the middle and being that good is kind of like, guys, what do we have to do to actually lose a game? Do we have to suicide off a cliff or something? Because I think, honestly, even if it was 5 versus 4, there'd still be an advantage. But Meritorious, good job against Just Cause there. 279 coming off that MX-3090. So Denial certainly still into this game. They've done more damage overall. Povel's down to 368. Breakneck Just Cause for taking a shell each. But the fact that Zenith unsupported on his own, but Denial Esports not managed to hit those last 2 shells onto Povel does give them the advantage in terms of damage.
Yeah, Meritorious there. Still keeping eyes on Just Cause, but he's going to lose vision eventually, and it's such a dangerous situation for Denial to be in this sort of predicament. They are literally getting surrounded by Virtus Pro slowly but surely. And we can check in with the others. Meritorious, obviously the T69 a little further back towards the south. Carmen over towards the west. Panamaco and Butcher up on this hill. And, well, here's Pizzoni on the other side. He could get a couple of shots onto Breakneck, possibly. But, at the moment, Meritorious is now being pretty much caught out on all fronts. But Niers Pizzoni does get that shell towards Breakneck. So at least a small bit of silver lining here.
Denial Esports is certainly still into this game. I wouldn't say anything about that. Niers Pizzoni gets found by Breakneck, 219 damage. But second one not connecting, and first one for Niers Pizzoni not finding its target either. And I think that for Denial, they just need to carry on working down Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro actually still need to go forwards if they want to go for the cap, which Denial has perfectly defended. And for Virtus Pro, really, they have to somehow get from here into towards this location. Maybe a good idea would be coming from the bottom with Cretes and Kusok using the pure speed of the AMX-1390s just to surge in. Make sure they also have the 6 shells in the autoloader reloaded 100% before they make the move.
Well, certainly options on the table. At the moment, we are still waiting to see if Denial can do anything. They look as though they're just laying in wait pretty much for whatever is going to be thrown at them by Virtus Pro. And I don't blame them. This is a bit of a harsh predicament. And I want to ask you a question while we see these guys finding their positions eventually. Was this play from Virtus Pro, they're picking this many 3090s, which makes it seem like they don't want to go for that middle push. It looks like they want to go for the west push. Or is it to maybe bait Denial into this position?
Well, Denial baited Virtus Pro into that position, but what Denial expected was to do more damage than they actually did. They expected to get one down. What Virtus Pro saw was basically a carrot on a stick, which was Zenith on his own. But Denial's plan just didn't work. They didn't do the damage, they didn't get the kill, and altogether just not a good plan. I think they expected Virtus Pro to go into the middle, but just couldn't react to it in quite the way they expected. The T69s being a little bit slow into position perhaps, but we do see the push a little bit coming from the bottom on Virtus Pro, and as I said, the split down the bottom and across the middle, the best location, as you can see, Meritorious is on his own, unsupported up top.
Oh, and Povel did get caught out, and then actually a shell came through from Polomako. Bit of a distance on that one, to say the very least. Taking him down to 135, near on a one shot for just about everyone, so needs to be a little bit careful now. And you're seeing maybe a little bit more caution coming out from Virtus Pro, just because the players are getting a little weaker. Bishop, though, moving in with Just Cause. This could catch out a couple of players. However, most of them are up on top of the slight hill here, so they'll have to be shooting up, but can they pull this one off?
Ooh, Potomako just about reversing. Quite a lot of spots coming onto Virtus Pro, but they haven't taken any damage, so Virtus Pro probing. The problem is now they end up having to get back up the hill, and Denial Esports could cut them off, as really Virtus.pro haven't got very much in terms of resources. Only Povl really left up there, and Vorsic towards the right. But Denial not moving. They're not really wanting to try anything out. Nia Pozzoni, Meritorious still in pretty much their original position. But as I said, at least Nia Pozzoni deciding to move.
Yeah, Niels Pizzoni trying to test his luck against Vorsic. At the moment, he's coming off slightly better in that T69 than the 1390 up against him, but backing a little away. Butcher coming around from the flank. This could go very badly for Vorsic here. He could just get caught out any second now. And here we go. Butcher comes into the battle. Vorsic takes one, gets to avoid the second, but Potomako comes on a cleanup duty to pick up the remainder. And this isn't going so well for Virtus.pro now.
Ooh, but Bishop's in a good position. Oh, that's the problem though. They haven't got a T69. You can see how it struggles to get its turret down, its gun down, whereas a T69 would easily be able to deal with Potomako, at least deal a good amount of damage onto him. Povl also the next target for Denali Esports. Honestly, I think they should start contesting this middle area a little bit more. You can already see Potomako rotating around, and well, Denal straight back into this game. Both teams now losing a tier 8 tank each, but at the moment Virtus.pro taking a lot more damage overall.
Yeah, definitely. It's starting to even up though. The more shells that keep coming in towards Meritorious from Bishop, the worse this is getting. Look at the damage he's able just to put down towards him. 1017, he backs up, Breakneck comes in. Nice play comes out, and Denial are just... they're not working with the advantage they finally had. No,
they just completely threw that one away. Meritorious deciding to put himself in the easiest position to get shot possible and not moving it because he got perma-track. So poor play from Meritorious altogether in this match day, and this really does get personified in that one tack. But Nia Pozzoni trying to make up for a little bit against Just Cause. And there's no dynamic play from Dunal. They're not trying anything, they're not doing anything. They're waiting for Virtus.pro to make mistakes, which doesn't happen very much. They should be rotating around the cliff, the Lighthouse Islands, for instance.
And Nia Pozzoni gets found by Breakneck as well. This has gone from bad to worse.
How does that work?
I don't even know. He was out on a limb, probably. And this is just sloppy stuff. Butcher is moving in, but this is just going so poorly. Look at Butcher. He's literally surrounded by these guys. Potomako finds Povl. Just Cause is pretty low, but both down to a one-shot. Butcher comes out a little better than Just Cause. Down to a 2v2, but look at the HP left with Denial. They're in a world of trouble. Potomako is a one-shot, as is Butcher. Butcher comes in. Oh, stunning play from Bishop. Switches over towards Butcher. Potomako swings turret to look at Breakneck, but he knows that one more shell. Potomako's still standing. Oh my god, the flat exchange, the travel time between the two. But now Carmen, one tank standing. It's not going to happen.
Kuzok's going to make his way probably towards the cap. Carmen also heading that way. So 3-0 looks like going to be the final result between Denali Esports Virtus.pro. As I said before, I mean, really, Virtus.pro looking uncontested in this league. They've lost a lot of tanks, but they weren't even playing seriously. They were joking around. Denali Esports weren't, and they still got schooled. So Carmen the one left, and he's going to get spotted and taken down real quick.
Yeah, Kusok just flinging himself around the map. Spots have been made. Carmen makes a nice shot towards Kusok there, but still. Carmen left up against Bishop, 1v1. Tier 1 against 1390. I've got a feeling this won't go so well.
Nope. I mean, Bishop is really going to be enjoying his time right now. He has plenty of time to play around with. 1 minute and 33 seconds left, and to be honest, he doesn't even have to pray to God to get this one. Just has to drive forwards and take him down. And what can I say? Carmen, you're the last man alive. You're an extraordinary man, but not enjoying the grand finals as an Amarak will finish it all off for us. Denali Esports 0, Virtus.pro 3. Unbelievable stuff.
Slightly one-sided game by quite some margin, and a little bit of a shame for me because, well, Bishop hitting 3k is not a shame.
He told me exactly what he thinks of me, so it's all good. I said he's not great. He's been doing pretty well this season, to be fair.
He has.
It's just the offline finals between Virtus.pro and Na'Vi, and that, these situations are not that high pressure for Virtus.pro.
Really.
Denali Esports are not on par this season, but it's when the high pressure is on him and he had to take down Power Slide, and just building up to that thing, I was like, in those situations, it's when you're really tested as a player.
Well, so far we've seen the fact that, all in all, Virtus.pro are still ridiculously strong. Denial might have just lost their chance to go to the offline finals here. Still 2 more games coming up for them this season. Schoolbus and Kaznakru, neither really an easier opponent. Virtus.pro obviously are very much up at the top, but these other guys are certainly substantially stronger this season than Denial have been, and it's a real shame for me to see. And there's just a lack of effort on the side of Denial. Virtus.pro all the way through barely looked like they had an opponent. It looked like they're playing against bots.
Yeah.
You know, it was just this. Okay, we are Virtus.pro. We're going to do this, and they pulled it off straight away. No problems there. And I don't think anyone would have voted against Virtus.pro. But guys, Melly, did anyone have faith in Carmen and his boys?
Niall?
No.
I really like you.
I see a big thing.
Yeah, you see a big thing.
Yeah.
That's the result of our poll, exactly. And it's 9% in total for Denial,
Oh, God.
which is really bad.
Ouch.
To say like mildly. Well, whatever. Well, what can I say? Well, we talked through that a couple of times. Well, actually more. And Denial wasn't bringing their A game, sadly. So we saw already better from them, from the players, like the season before. And it's really sad to see. I bet the audience at home isn't really satisfied with their actions as well, since we do have some players that are kind of community favorites. So they're known. They do a lot for World of Tanks, and it's sad to see that they can't really
step up anymore.
Exactly. Thank you, Lauren. That's exactly what I was trying to say. But, well, people at home, get involved into the conversation. Head over to Twitter, twitter.com/WGLEU, and follow us, of course. And, well, join the discussion by using hashtag WGLEU, which is not really happy at this moment. And I don't even dare to look in Twitch chat in like around 8 to 10 minutes because I don't want to read that. But yeah, of course, follow us, follow our Twitch channel as well to get a notification as soon as we're going live. Follow us on Facebook to stay updated as soon as something happening is in the worldwide World of Tanks world. And that's pretty much all from my side. Thank you all for participating. I will announce the last winners of the last vote probably a bit later. And yes, that's all from my side. Thank you for making my job so easy.
Yeah. Great play day all in all. Thank you everyone who got involved. Actually, so many people on Twitter using the hashtag WGLU. I was keeping track of you guys. Thank you so much for being involved with us throughout the show. You've made it a hell of a fun time. And I think we've had a pretty good play day.
We've had a great play day. It's been a slow start between between Dream Leprechauns and Lucky Cracky, but it got better with Kaz and Crew and School Bus and culminated in a bit of a walkover for Virtus.pro versus Denial. I
don't think we really expected it to be a super close game between Denial and Virtus.pro. We just hope that Denial kind of put up a little bit more of a fight. But it's the way the cookie crumbles, and sometimes you can't really predict today's outcome to the absolute T. But, you know, on paper, Denial needed to do more. Sadly, they didn't. But there's still maybe one more chance. And that chance begins on the 21st of July at 7 CEST up against School Bus, which will be the first game of play week 9 in the first of the play days there. Following that, we Kazna up against Virtus.pro, the game of the season. Finally, will there be a challenger to Virtus.pro? That is the big question hanging around that one. And finishing us off, it'll be Suba up against Lucky Karaki. But I've got to ask you the question, can Kazna take down Virtus.pro?
That's the question on everyone's mind. I think everyone's asking that question. Honestly, it's going to be a close matchup. I don't think Virtus.pro is going to walk over any team, any Kazna Crew players there in any map, like they did against Denial. I think it's going to be a lot more of a challenge. It's pretty much getting towards the end of the season, so will these teams wanting to be trying something different? Because obviously they keep the kind of counter tactics they're really going to use towards those offline finals. So I think I'm going to see something pretty out of the box, but nothing spectacular. Honestly, I think it's going to be a very close matchup, but Virtus.pro at the moment are just looking out of this world.
Yeah, they are looking phenomenal, but they will finally have the true challenge of the team who's looked fantastic from the very start, Kazna Crew. So if that all sounds good to you guys, make sure you follow on Twitter and Facebook, obviously, with the WGLEU, just following those URLs. Make sure you keep up to date with all of us using the hashtag WGLEU as well. We love hearing from you. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at TheyCallMePansy, at LaughterWT, and at Melly with the 3. God, that rhyme, that was terrible. Or if none of that really tickles your fancy, make sure you follow on Twitch TV. And even then, just make sure you tune back in on this Twitch TV page on the 21st of July at 7 CEST. We'll be here waiting for that great game to kick off, and hopefully you guys will be as well. So hopefully see you then.